Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unqualified Film Bros podcast. We are talking about our first Marvel movie of the year, right? First Marvel movie of the year? First of
First of
three?
Yeah,
three.
Our
First of three. Yeah.
first 2025 release on the pod. We're talking about Captain America, Brave New World. Anthony Mackie in his first outing leading a Marvel film, well deserved, well made, well timed for him. He does a great job here, but let's get into it, gentlemen. What do you think?
I'll go. Because I want to. Um, First of all, I want to start just, I'm very happy for Anthony Mackie, right? Like he's been at it for a while and he's just a fun guy to root for. It's hard not to root for Anthony Mackie. And so I wanted this film to be good. I wanted it to be excellent. I wanted it to be a great follow-up to Captain America Civil War. I wanted it to be a continuation of Captain America, sort of a reintroduction to the MCU for 2025. It feels like we've kind of had a big gap since the last Marvel film. What was it? Was that the
Deadpool and
Marvels?
Wolverine.
Oh, Deadpool. Yeah, well,
yeah,
But also that's
yeah,
not main universe MCU for a lot of it.
it,
yeah.
yeah, and it's been a rough go for Marvel. And to be quite honest, I think the run kind of continues. This is a film that had a lot of expectations, just leading into it, and maybe not from trailers and footage that we've seen, but I think people wanted it to be good. I don't think people were rooting against it. But overall, for me, it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was okay. I think there were some great moments. I think the Celestial Island stuff looked great. I thought the flight stuff looked cool. But I think some of the dialogue was corny. I think some of the characters weren't very well written. Like it was a bit of a mess in some points. But that's kind of what we're that's kind of what we've come to expect from Marvel. Um,
Well, it just seems like
we're
they're always behind. Like they're always
yeah,
trying to catch up with what they've
yeah.
created.
they're
And
not they're not building towards something like they used to.
God,
They're
but
not
they
even doing what
are.
they did in phase one and phase two.
well, I think the building is actually
It's
the
like
thing that's holding them back. Because like
I
they're
think
trying to build it,
I know,
but
but they're not
it's
doing it
overtaking
in
the.
a way it doesn't make sense.
Well, the
Because
problem is it's overtaking the stories. Like each
it
movie is
is.
just being overtaken by
It
the
is.
greater like arc that they're trying to do.
And that's why like phase one and the beginning of phase two worked, right? You got what, five movies in phase one that are
Six.
basically solo movies, and then
Mhm.
you wrap it up with the Avengers.
Yeah,
And that makes sense because, we know the characters at that point, and then they all team up at the end. And it's great. Amazing. Phase two, yeah, we get more into the Infinity Saga stuff, introduced to Thanos early on and everything in the Infinity Stones. But it never felt like they were shoving it down your throat like they are now. I think they've gotten too caught up in the cameos and too caught up in the universe building that it's at, like Ben, like you said, it's coming at the expense of a story.
yeah, I mean, think about like the early movies, and it's like, oh, Samuel Jackson shows up at the end of the film. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's Nick Fury. It's like that used to be like huge. It's like, oh my God, are we gonna get to see more of him? And now they just throw in like all this stuff. It's like, hey guys, remember the leader from 2008, the Incredible Hulk? You know, it's a bit of a mess when you're trying to do all this stuff, setting up a new Captain America, following up that, and then you're also somehow creating a sequel to The Incredible Hulk
Yeah. I think
without the Hulk.
what really
Also, very
that was a huge
confusing.
thing. Yeah. I think what really stuck out to me about the choices made for what story to tell was that you clearly set up a story. Marvel clearly set up a story at the end of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier 4 years ago with Sharon Carter infiltrating the US government and sort of getting this
Yeah.
muddied like motivations and moral gray area type like that.
Yeah.
They set that up. We're never going to see Sharon Carter again. Um,
And if we do, it'll be like a bit part where she does something that's like morally gray, and it's like, oh yeah, but she's still the whatever the hell it was called in where I don't know even where they went in Falcon. What's her name? What was her
they went to Madripoor and she was called the
Madripoor?
what was she called? See, it's been 4 years. We can't remember.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And they
He
revealed it in
still
the last
set up.
like, 20 seconds of the last episode.
Yeah,
Like we
you
knew
set
what
up
it was
this
going to,
story.
but
Clearly have an idea for something. Malcolm Spellman, who was the showrunner on that show, is an executive producer and a co-writer of this film. And they, instead of making it a sequel to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they make it a sequel to The Incredible Hulk. Like the best way that
Yeah.
I could describe this movie is an Incredible Hulk sequel with Captain America as its hero and Eternals as its plot device.
yeah.
Like it just felt like they were trying to do
I mean,
too
yeah, I
much to
think the
tie up loose
Celestial
ends,
the
but they
Celestial
tied up the
plot
wrong
line
loose
makes
ends.
sense. I think that's fine. I just think that like they're shoving in all these characters that we haven't I mean you're changing up the actor for Thaddeus Ross. They're
Yeah,
just they're
all
using
love to
people that
Harrison
we don't
Ford.
have a lot.
All love to Harrison Ford. He does a great job here, but
Hmm.
I did not feel any emotional weight with his character's journey.
Yeah, also I think it's a stupid thing to do for a guy named Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. His whole thing is he's just an asshole the entire time. It's like taking Doctor Doom and, all of a sudden, oh, I got to do better for my kids. It's like that's a stupid, stupid plot. I'm sorry, but like you can't have every villain be redeemable. It doesn't make any damn sense. Like
Also,
get
Also,
the whole
Marvel's
we
done the
know
redeemable
Ross.
villain for a long time. Like they've done it time and time again. It
yeah,
works to varying degrees, but sometimes you just need a villain who's a villain. Like that's why the Penguin, I think, works so well.
yeah.
Like he's just a bad dude.
Yeah. And it's like important because his whole thing is he embodies the industrial, military complex. It's like destroying all these things in the name of justice for America and safety for America.
And
But
Ross is
yeah, if
such a prick in every appearance that he makes. And yes, he has a silent cameo at Tony Stark's funeral in Endgame,
yeah,
but in The Incredible Hulk, in Civil War, and in Infinity War, he is a dick.
well, I think the
He's a
biggest thing
dick
is
for
like,
most of this movie too. Like
yeah,
he's not a good person, and then he gets a 2-minute redemption arc.
I love that, it's like all about his daughter, but meanwhile, like every other instance we've seen him, he still wants to kill Bruce Banner. It's like the love interest of your daughter. Like, how am I supposed to take this seriously? It just doesn't make any sense. And it was all to set up like the leader as a bigger villain who's also somewhat sympathetic because he was kept in a cage for 60. It's like everybody is just so
Yeah, the only reason why they said he was kept in a cage for 16 years is because Marvel didn't use the character for 16
I know.
years. Like
It's just
that was
it's annoying.
like obvious fucking throwaway explanation that oh, we didn't use him for 16 years. Well, we'll say that he was in a cage
And
because
who the
that
hell is going to remember what happens to Samuel Stearns at the end of The Incredible Hulk from 2008? No one's going to know that unless you went and rewatched
Like
it.
what if this was their plan all along, why didn't you just do a Hulk sequel? Like you're recasting
because of
everybody.
rights.
What do you mean?
It's sort of like how Sony and Marvel share the rights for Spider-Man. The reason why Hulk hasn't gotten a sequel is because Universal owns the character rights to the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, but are you seriously telling me that Disney, the billion-dollar machine it is,
I'm saying they should have worked out a deal like they did for Spider-Man and given Hulk a solo movie
George, if they
five,
can do
seven
it for
years ago.
Spider-Man, they can do it for The Incredible Hulk.
That's exactly what I'm
also
saying.
shouldn't Red Hulk should be under the same copyright stuff. Like,
Also, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk has been in the MCU since 2012.
12.
yeah, they got him for She-Hulk. You
They
telling me
got
they
him for
can't make
She-Hulk.
a Hulk movie?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you
She-Hulk
what the
would
rights
also
are.
fall under Universal probably too.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of this stuff is.
If
I don't
all
know what
like
the copyright situation for
I don't
those
know
specific
there's
characters, but there's no reason that I can accept that they didn't
No,
do a Hulk scene,
no.
which is where you should have done this story because it actually makes emotional sense with the guy that was, being hunted and, his
If you
personal relationship. It just doesn't make any sense. Why is Falcon fighting the Red Hulk?
if you take Sam Wilson's Captain America and Joaquin Torres's uh, Falcon out of this movie and replace them with Bruce Banner's Incredible Hulk, this is a much better movie
Yeah, which
because
is
it
a shame
makes
for
it
the
because it
Falcon.
makes sense. And you're right, it's a shame for Anthony Mackie, and it's a shame for his Captain America, his Sam Wilson, that this is the story they gave him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? This should have been a pivotal moment. You have a Black Captain America. You're releasing it in Black History Month, the same month you released Black Panther 8 years ago.
Also, you're
7 years
including
ago.
like Isaiah Bradley for like
Yeah,
just to put him in jail again. Come on, man. Like,
Isaiah's such a great character. Like, you can't have him sitting in
Also,
jail
where was his
cell.
grandson? His grandson was such a big part of the end of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
he's going with the Young Avengers. They're
Yeah,
not allowed
the
to
Young
use him.
Avengers that they've teased twice now.
I don't know. It's just like there are, I feel like, good character moments, and the Falcon is a very good character to use. They just so poor at execution. It's like make a movie about the Falcon and the new Captain America. Don't make it about random stuff that has nothing to do with his character.
No,
I agree.
it's literally just a hey, we need an adventure for Sam Wilson's Captain America to do
Well, you know what
between.
it is that they were planning the Thunderbolts for a long time. And you know what? It doesn't make sense to have the Thunderbolts without Thunderbolt Ross somewhere.
Are we going to see Harrison Ford in 2.5 months?
I assume in some capacity.
He's
Not like
he's
a
at the
major thing.
raft at this point in time, but they also have to explain what goes on with Bucky because he's in this movie and then he's in a much weirder, darker place in everything we've seen from Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I'm assuming something goes down and it's like the government falls apart and
I think
Thaddeus
he
Ross is
wins his congressional campaign and goes back home and deals with his constituents, and then he loses a re-election campaign, and
So you're
joins
saying that there's
Julia
going to be a
Louis.
2 year time jump between.
No, well, I don't know. Who knows? They might do some crazy stuff. But look, it doesn't matter.
All I'm saying is there has to be a reason why they're called the Thunderbolts. They even mentioned that in the
Uh,
trailer.
I saw a theory. I don't know if this is true, but is it the asterisk at the end? Is that something that films and companies do when there's like a placeholder, like a working title?
Not really. They
No?
usually put like untitled XYZ movie. I
Mm.
think the Thunderbolts, the asterisk, and we'll talk about this again in 2.5 months when we talk about the movie. But
I
I think
believe
the
that the
asterisk is
asterisk.
there because they're going to call themselves something else at the end of the movie, probably Avengers.
The Dark Event. It's the Dark Avengers or the Gray Avengers or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's what the team that Ross forms is called. But it's like he's not even in the picture right now, bringing this team together because it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, I'm assuming if Harrison Ford's not there in official capacity, then it's like Julia Dreyfus saying like, Thaddeus Ross is,
Power
starting
Broker.
Power Broker.
I
Yes,
just
which is a
remembered
great
Sharon Carter as the
now.
Power Broker. That was going to bug me.
Yeah, that means nothing. So
Um, but I think the reason that the asterisk is there is just because it's not the actual Thunderbolts like lineup. Mainly, it doesn't have Baron Zemo, the leader of every Thunderbolts lineup.
Maybe Daniel Bruhl will be in this movie.
I hope not. I'm
I
actually
don't
hoping
think he
not.
is.
I'm
No.
hoping not. Because it looks kind of good right now. And like
Everything that they've
I
done with the
don't trust
trailer,
them with packing movies anymore. Like I just don't. Because they're rushing everything. They moved Doomsday back because the filming of Doomsday back because the script isn't done. This whole universe is in free fall. Like, and it has been for a little while. It just took until like,
Truly amazing.
yeah. And
the
like,
fact that
yeah,
we're supposed to get Doomsday in 15 months is
I, curious,
terrifying.
do they know this thing called planning? Um,
They
No,
used to.
it's like JJ with the sequel trilogy. They don't have a plan.
Well, the biggest thing is that you're taking all these stories from comic books. Yeah, they adapt them to the MCU, but just read some damn comic books. Like I can tell you where all this stuff comes from, and stop putting in unnecessary cameos.
I liked Bucky here.
Well, Bucky's fine. I meant like Liv Tyler. Like, what is that, man? Why do you have Thaddeus Ross here? Now you have to include Liv Tyler because she's a major emotional plot point. It's like,
True.
think about this
But
stuff,
again,
guys.
the emotional weight wasn't there because it wasn't the late great William Hurt.
Well, it also wasn't there because Liv Tyler showed up at the end of the movie after he had already given himself up. Oh,
Well, yeah,
wow,
because
daughter, you
the
arrived.
Liv Tyler's Betty Ross stopping Thunderbolt Ross was already done 16 years, 17 years ago. She
Hmm.
appealed to his better nature in the fight against the Hulk on the college campus.
Yeah, makes you think that
UVA.
maybe it's meant to be a Hulk versus Red Hulk with her in the background matchup.
So, what did you guys like about this movie?
Isaiah
Um,
Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley's great. I loved the Falcon. I loved Captain America. Anthony Mackie's very fun. I think they have good chemistry. It's just the one thing my sister said. I watched it with her, and she said it doesn't feel like even if it's not as good, it doesn't feel as fun. Like they're putting these things in horrible situations. Like yeah, the intrigue of like Celestial Island's fine, but when the major plot point is like putting a black man who was falsely incarcerated and experimented on for 30 years back in prison,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to laugh at anything? Like they're trying to make jokes at times, and it's like I laughed at the Bucky joke, that your speech trader helped with that, but I really didn't get very many chuckles. I was just sort of watching with a straight face. It's like the action's good, and they got good chemistry. It just feels too serious. I mean, even Civil War got some like comedy, and that's the most serious Captain America there is of the movies. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they should be fun. It's like, yeah, you want to explore some interesting ideas, but you can't make a movie that's a blockbuster action superhero movie like this really depressing unless that is the goal. That is the only goal. Like
and it's not.
Watchmen or
It's too
something.
it's too convoluted to pick which direction it wants to go.
Yeah, well, it's part of the overall Marvel universe, so it just feels out of place. Like the characters seem too serious. Even when they were fighting Thanos, they weren't this serious, and he snapped away half the universe. Like there were the moments in Endgame, right? But then there are plenty of moments, talking about like hot tub time machine. It's like, why do you feel the need to be so serious? And I really love the chemistry that Joaquin, Isaiah Bradley, and Anthony Mack or
Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson. It's like which name? Sam Wilson had. I thought that was great, and then they just took them away. And Joaquin, you're always worried about him like dying the entire movie. It's just a little too
I'm worried
serious.
about, I mean, I'm not worried about Sam dying, but it's like, I mean, he's a regular dude going up against a Hulk. Like, and he basically
Yes,
Natasha Romanoffs him and does, hey, big guy, the sun's getting low. Like, that's what he does. That's the end.
yeah,
That's how he
yeah.
solves the problem.
That's how he solves the
It's just
problem.
so ridiculous.
He stabs him in the stomach with his vibranium wing and then says, hey, big guy, the sun's getting real low, and goes, and then Ross says, okay.
And also, did anybody notice that we saw the transformation back in a shadow? We didn't watch Red Hulk turn back into Thaddeus Ross.
Yeah, it's too much
I don't
money,
care.
George.
It's too much money. That's exactly it.
Yeah, they did
By
it
the way,
what,
that is
one
my all.
time in the Avengers, like for his first for when he punches the
Yeah,
Leviathan.
Oh
Is that the
yeah,
only time that we see him like transform?
I think so.
Yeah,
Because
that was awesome.
in Age of Ultron, we see him transform back right at the
Oh,
beginning of
that's
the
true.
movie.
That's true.
But when he transforms at the end, or in the middle and at the end, we don't see it. When he
Yeah,
transforms in Ragnarok, we see him turn back, but we don't see him turn into the Hulk on the Rainbow Bridge.
yeah. And then he's just Smart Hulk for the rest, so he doesn't
they just keep
like
up.
they just keep him. Like they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, and Hulk's got a
that
son now.
he does.
He does.
He does. That's a thing they just put in there.
Good for him.
Surprised he didn't show up in this movie.
Surprise, it's actually Blonsky.
I loved in She-Hulk they actually made fun of like all these cameos and stuff, and it's just like, all right, back to it.
Madison.
Not even just in She-Hulk. They did it in Deadpool and Wolverine too.
That's true,
Yeah,
but
but
that
that's
is a
also
cam.
expected.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Those are
it's,
both fourth wall breaking properties.
yeah.
Also, Deadpool just got the rights to all of, the other Marvel characters. Like, of course, they're gonna use everything they got.
Yeah.
But it was done well.
Do
Like, it
you
It
wasn't,
know
was.
what he was doing to the budget?
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Mackie is very good here
Yeah, I
with
think
what
all the
he's with what he's
performers are
given.
good.
There's
Um,
one performance that is not good, and it is a character that is completely unnecessary.
you mean Ruth?
Ruth. Sabra.
Uh, yeah, I don't know what. Why did
Why
you
was
guys
she
feel
there?
need? Why did you
Why?
guys feel? I mean, she's not even like a big character in the comics.
No,
Terrible
she's
time
not.
to choose to put the Israeli superhero
Like,
in Marvel.
you can, I get it. They really did lean into the political thriller, like the lack of the Marvel, like it just is the black and white. Like it feels like they're going for
Well,
like
yeah,
that action. But it's like, why, why would you do?
if they had balls, they would have, kept it as like an Israeli superhero that worked in Mossad and, dealt with that. It's
But
like
no, it was just kind of
you can't
out of the
reduce her
blue.
to, oh, it's just another Black Widow. It's like, oh, we just had the Black Widow movie a few years ago. Who is this? And then she has like three scenes that she does something. I don't know.
And
It's
she's
it's
Yeah.
not even
completely
that good.
unnecessary. But it takes up time. Why are these people here? Why?
Like they're
Uh,
never gonna come back.
yep.
You couldn't use
Also,
Sharon Carter in the role.
Sapphire
Like
is like a mutant. Like she's a mutant. I don't. Why are we just throwing her out there like or a Black Widow? I mean, what is the point of that? If you wanted to do the character, she's not huge in the comics, but every time she's got her mutant powers.
you
So
And
want
I
to add to the
understand.
if you want
Sorry,
to
go ahead.
add to the intrigue and the continuity from Falcon and Winter Soldier to make this more of a Captain America movie, put Sharon Carter in Ross's inner circle.
yeah, that makes a lot more
I
sense.
thought that's where they would be going because she's like walking away from the weapons archive, the CIA or something at the end of Falcon
Yep.
and the Winter Soldier. So like why shouldn't she go and head his security detail or
I
something like that?
I think this was a Feige item. He has a few characters he just likes and just somehow maneuvers them in. Even though he can't get I think he likes Blade, but he can't get that one made.
Well,
Kevin, I will speak directly to camera. I'll make the movie. Give me $200 million. Okay. That was a quick aside.
Into my
Um,
personal account.
yeah. This movie,
I want the Russo brothers deal. I want the Robert Downey Jr. deal.
yeah, I
Robert
would
Downey
love
Jr., who's making
$5 million.
70 million for Doomsday.
I thought it was 90. I
It
thought it was
might be.
95.
It's a lot.
I thought it was
He's
70.
making like close to 200 million, I think, for both movies.
It doesn't matter. It's way too much money.
But
Um,
that just screams of desperation. It's like you spending
they
that much on the one actor in a
yeah,
movie, you're gonna have about
Well,
like
and
five
also
million cameos.
the Russos are not cheap, and I
Well,
believe
they're
they
not going to
are
break the
cheap,
bank
but
though.
they gave them like $80 million. No director gets that.
it's playing it safe. And Doomsday, I think, is going to be a train wreck, but I think
Yeah.
Secret Wars is going to be fine.
Yeah, because like I don't know, Downey's going to show up and he's going to say "I hate you 3000" to Tom Holland, and everyone's going to shoot themselves in the face. Like it's going to be bad. Like it's going to be bad.
Why did you choose to get a guy named Robert Downey Jr. with that recognizable face? It's been in Marvel for so long.
You're telling
when the
me,
character wears a mask the entire time.
you're telling me, friend of the pod, Adam Driver couldn't play Doctor Doom.
I don't think he wanted to. I think they actually approached him,
Hmm.
but yeah,
But you could find another actor. You could
Adam Driver has
also
enough money. He's like, I don't want to be part of this train wreck.
hear me out. You know what you could also do? Recast Kang and like don't worry about it.
What's
Like the
John
biggest
Boyega up to? He could be Kang.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
the
also
the
like the
problem with
worst
Kang
thing.
is like I don't I don't see why they only chose Kang because they didn't have the rights to Doctor Doom yet. That's the only thing I can think of. Because Secret Wars is Doom. And it doesn't make sense for Kang to be there like as
Well, they
the
were going to do Kang
overall.
Dynasty, and then I think they were going to bring in Doom for. I think the original plan, and correct me if
Or
I'm wrong
Secret
here,
Wars.
it was going to
Well, that
do.
would be
They were going to
fine. I
do
just have no
Kang
idea.
Dynasty, then Fantastic Four to introduce Doom, and then Secret Wars. I'm pretty sure that's what
See,
the
but
plan was.
that doesn't make any sense. That's stupid.
I might be making that up. I don't know.
But I don't think you're wrong about that though. I feel like I read something similar. I just think that's stupid.
Yeah, I think it's too much. You know, you need one of these characters. You can't have both Kang and Doom.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do Secret Wars, you got to choose Doom. You can't build up Kang like this in every single thing. I mean,
You
it's fine
Look,
also
to
that was their
have to
plan for
take.
years. They announced it early and that like they backed themselves into the corner. And then
yeah.
they backed themselves into another corner by making every single variant Jonathan Majors.
And I also think that Kang is just not as recognized. I mean, he's a very good villain, but he's not as recognizable as like Thanos, most people know, and Doctor Doom, everybody knows. He
Yeah.
is an icon in himself.
Galactus too, I would say, is up
Yeah,
there. But he's
but
not
he's
even
just
an Avengers threat. He's a Fantastic Four guy. Like that's his main thing.
yeah. Also, he's not very interesting because he's too
Yeah.
powerful. Like he's just
Yeah.
sort of like an all-encompassing powerhouse. So you got to beat him other ways. He's much better for different threats, but he's Doom is really interesting because he's like a reverse of the guys like, Tony Stark and Reed Richards, and that he's really smart, but he's
Which
really
is
selfish.
why they went with Downey.
I know, but
And
I
look,
And
I
think
don't blame
that's
him for taking the role. If I got a check that big, I'm taking
no,
it.
absolutely.
they dump money on him. I would take
Yeah.
that.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Besides, it would be fun.
Downey's
It'd
going to
be
do
fun.
a good job.
Yeah,
You
he'll be
know, with
fine.
him, he's going to commit. He's going to deliver.
Yeah.
It's still the wrong casting choice.
Look at his reveal. I mean, you heard Anthony Mackie talking about how they did it, right? It's like 12 different Doctor Dooms show up in a room. They're all in there. So no one knew.
Yeah, this was
And then they walk
in
out.
Hall H at Comic Con
Yeah.
last year.
And he whips off the mask and it was no one knew because they all walked in at the same time. Like that's awesome.
Mhm.
And he committed to that like tiny little bit part. So of course he's going to do a great job. Look, we know we know he's going to do a good job.
I just worry about money. It's like they have tons of money, but you can't be throwing like close to $150 million for one movie to the directors and one actor.
And
Yeah,
that's not even mentioning
You got to
you're gonna
pay
have
the other
Mackie
actors, and then you got to spend $200 million in CGI.
you're gonna have Mackie and Cumberbatch and Holland each making like 3 million tops.
This is going to be the most expensive movie ever made.
These two
it's
back to
going to be
back, absolutely.
it's going to be $600 million. It has to make over 3.6 billion to break even, and it's going to earn 7 just
Guys,
because.
why are we making money off this? We're selling lots of tickets.
And they're gonna make a popcorn bucket for each of the main Avengers. So Mackie's gonna get one. I guess Tom
Strange.
Holland, Strange, um,
Who else is an Avenger right
Shang-Chi.
now?
Yeah, I mean, they
Shang-Chi.
say so they're
Sure.
rebuilding the end of the Avengers or rebuilding the
I
Avengers
like
again.
the choice to have Ross bring that up early in the movie and then have or Sam Wilson follow through and ask Joaquin at the end of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
who's
but
gonna
we knew it was gonna happen. The Avengers have to reform. They don't
yeah.
exist.
But I don't think Strange is gonna be an Avenger. Never
Well,
has been.
Strange is in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
I know, but he's not gonna be an Avenger.
I
That's
mean,
the
he's
thing.
Well,
kind
I
of an
mean,
Avenger in
like
Infinity War.
like
No, but that's what I mean. It's like
The
he's not an
Wakandans
Avenger.
aren't Avengers in Infinity War, but they are, you know.
No, but like, yeah, I expect some of these people to come back. I'm curious what the actual Avengers team will look like, if you get what I
Oh,
mean.
yeah, I mean, I know what you mean.
Because they'll be the center. I mean, they sidelined Strange for an entire
It's gonna
movie.
be Jessica Jones, Luke Cage,
Stop.
Shang-Chi,
No,
um,
it'll be Sam
Shang-Chi, I
Wilson.
Madison,
think.
Sam
um,
Wilson, uh, Doctor Strange, Peter Parker, Spider Man, um, Daredevil, Shang Chi.
I'm throwing Haley Steinfeld in there. I know she's been attached to Young Avengers and stuff, but that doesn't exist in my mind right now. They're
Oh,
gonna have
Carol
so
Danvers will be
much
there.
more. Yeah, Carol Danvers. She will, I don't know if she'll be
Yeah,
an
I'm not sure about
Avenger.
Carol Danvers, and
I
I'm not
think
sure about Doctor Strange.
I think what they're gonna do after Secret Wars and
Moon Knight.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Who knows I can't predict anything at this point, but what I think they should do is go back, like use this as the launch pad for us going back down to the ground level, right? Like you have all these storylines coming up through the streets, like with Daredevil, with She-Hulk, with
Well,
Echo,
the yeah,
with Kate Bishop. Like you have all these stories you can tell that would make sense to introduce the Young Avengers, all these other characters, but it like resets everything in a more natural way. So you don't have to go out and say, "Yep, we're ending this, starting over here." It's like we can keep the continuity, but it still makes sense. But I don't trust them to do that. I don't think that,
I think they're after Secret Wars, they're resetting the entire thing.
yeah, I think that's probably what
It's a
they'll end up
reboot.
doing. Yeah. And regardless of how they do it, they should. It doesn't make sense to keep going with any of
You
that.
can't like if your whole thing is the Avengers,
Yeah.
you can't do it without Iron Man. And you can't just replace Tony Stark. You have to have Tony Stark. There's other people that like Iron Lad and Iron
Tom
Heart,
Cruise, here we come. It's his time now.
but but yeah, I think you gotta have Iron Man. Spider-Man's a must. Thor, uh, Ant-Man. If they wanted to do that, he's an original Avenger.
Hulk.
So I'm sure Ant-Man will be in the Avengers lineup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, other than Sam Wilson and
Like Ant-Man is like almost a
it's
certainty.
it's like he's
I
this
would
after
assume
Sam Wilson, he's
Shang-Chi.
probably the most Avenger after, out of all of them.
Yeah, I would assume Shang-Chi, and then I don't know, Thor might come back. I mean, I think Chris
I
Hemsworth
know
is not that.
Hemsworth doesn't really want to do Thor 5, but he
Yeah,
would probably come back for Avengers
but
movies.
I think he was willing to play the character again for
Yeah.
some of this stuff.
Mhm.
Plus, we've got to see what happens with him and Deadpool. Why was Thor
That's true.
crying?
That's true.
It's in the very distant future. Um, there's a lot
Probably Secret Wars.
in this movie. Um, Captain America: Brave New World, which we are actually talking about tonight. Um, the first two acts, like editing wise, are a total mess.
I'd say just
That's
the
three
first
rounds of reshoots
half.
for you. But
Yeah, I don't know if it's reshoots as much as recutting. I think they cut some stuff. I didn't reshoot because the way Marvel works, they can't. They shoot, they have their timing for shooting, and then once that's done, all the teams move on to the next movie. So if you're reshooting, you have like a few options to reshoot, but mostly I'm assuming that they recut to change things, which is
that makes
why it's a
sense.
fucking disaster to look at.
But everything from the Indian Ocean to the end of the movie was great.
Fucking better. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest part of the movie. Nothing
Right.
before that it needed much more. Like it,
Like it
yes, it
didn't
needed
make a lot
to
of
put into it,
narrative
but
sense early on, but it all really came
They were
together
throwing a
for the
lot.
last
They were
40
throwing a lot
minutes.
at
yeah.
you.
The last 40
Lots
minutes of
of
the movie is
exposition.
great. It's a return to form, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
not. I
yeah.
don't know, Return to Form, but it's pretty damn good, and it's by far the best parts.
It's
Part of
definitely the best parts of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah. Because I think
Until,
they really nailed the sort of Cap Captain America as like a symbol kind of stuff too. Like I think they did a better job with that in the last
Mhm.
40 minutes than they did at the beginning. Like Yeah. And I get that because Sam isn't really Captain America yet in our eyes as the audience because we haven't seen him as Captain America. We've seen him turn into Captain America at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we never see him do anything as Captain America until now, 4 years later.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's
And it's
good that
fun
they
to
at
see him
least
do it though.
saw that.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Um, just a
Yeah.
side note, it is you should take the super soldier serum. That's a
I
foolish
agree.
choice. Come on, man. You
I
just saw
agree.
You
aliens,
have it
Thanos, like
available
beat
to
up the
you.
Hulk. Come on.
You have it available to you, and you know that Steve had it, Bucky has it, fucking Walker took it.
Well, well, it would be one thing. Yeah, the Walker thing, like they make it seem like he goes insane, but I think that's just because of the person he is. Like I think Sam should be pretty confident in his moral compass. He could take
Oh
that and
yeah.
not go
No, I mean
crazy.
that was the whole point of the serum.
You're a
It
good man,
It
not a perfect
enhances who
soldier.
you
makes you
are, yeah.
more of who you already are. Yeah.
But that sounds great to
Erskine
me.
said
If
that
I'm a great,
14 years ago.
dude,
Yeah. No, I agree. Do we think those pills are in any way, shape, or form stable? Like if he lowered the dose to like one, like how stable do you think those pills are at this point? I know he was upping it for Ross, but
Oh, the Stearns pills.
those things.
yeah. I mean, I don't
Uh,
think Sam would take those as the version of the serum he
Oh,
takes,
oh,
but
well, those have gamma
yeah,
radiation,
that
so
those are
you don't
gamma
want
pills,
those.
yeah.
yeah. I
But
know.
he was able
Sorry, I
to
was changing
like
the subject. I was just thinking about other drugs that we could take in the MCU, and that's one of them. I wouldn't want to take that one.
Well, the Sentry's created using super soldier serum, like an enhanced version of that. So I'm curious
Mhm.
what happens in Thunderbolts.
that'll probably be Valentina giving him serum.
Yeah,
Where does she get it? Maybe from the power broker. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like in the comics, it's like a
true.
different serum. It's derived from super soldier, but yeah, there's some funky stuff that happens.
They'll probably do some weird shit or something stupid like put adamantium in it.
I mean,
Like that's how it makes Sentry because adamantium is crazy, but
Yeah, the fact that they
yeah.
used adamantium in this movie, like everyone figured after Eternals that the Celestial was going to have adamantium in it,
yeah, it was
but
like the first
like,
guess of
I actually think it's a good
come
way to
on.
introduce it
sure.
No, I agree
because
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
because vibranium also has like these magical properties, and that's already been co-opted for like adamantium. So I'm assuming that they're making it more indestructible, but also more like, you know,
Cosmic.
celestial,
Cosmic.
magical.
Yeah.
Gonna have some crazy properties to it that aren't just like an indestructible metal.
Yeah.
Also, more indestructible is not a word, Harrison. It either is indestructible or it's not.
I think the word you're
Mm.
looking for, Ben, is indestructibler.
Indestructible.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what adamantium is compared to vibranium. I did like the continuity of the power absorbing nature of the Wakandan vibranium wings that Sam had.
Oh yeah, well they already explained that in like Black Panther, so
I
I thought
know,
that was a
but it
nice.
was a nice touch to keep that and do that here.
Yeah,
Hmm. And George and I were talking about it, but the Mr. Blue being the activation song was nice too. I like that.
Mr. Blue, Mr. Green.
Yeah.
Again, if you've seen Incredible Hulk in the last couple of years, you'll pick up on a lot in this movie. If you saw Eternals, obviously you will just recognize the sight of Tiamat, the sleeping celestial.
Yeah.
But like,
I asked my mom. I was
you
like, "Do you
don't
know what a
need to see
celestial is?"
literally other than the introduction of Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres. You don't really need to see Falcon and Winter Soldier to see this movie.
No.
No, again, they think they're dealing with
Oh,
things that are
and
way.
Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah,
Yes.
these things are just way too outside. Like you're dealing with celestial stuff, you're dealing with Red Hulk, but also you're trying to do another storyline where there's a Black Captain America that's just a normal guy, and there's Black Captain America in jail. These
And
Like
things
let's
this,
do not work together.
and let's not forget the post-credit scene.
no, we're not talking about it. It was a waste of
We
time.
have to talk about it.
No, we don't. That was a waste
I
of
looked it up. I
time.
didn't even watch it. I was like, I'm not waiting all this time just to see a guy say, there are other people coming. I heard that in Spider-Man. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them. Yeah, I think it's an effort to speed run Sam Wilson's introduction into what the multiverse is because he hasn't been part of it at all.
Guys, I think by now we know that there's other people in other universes. They don't need to say that every movie. It's like the Thanos things worked, the Infinity Stones worked. It's like each one is different. It's like, oh, we're
Yeah.
finding this stone, we're finding this stone. Oh, that's in that. That's why that's powerful. Not just like every movie.
God,
Hey,
Endgame
there's
was
alternate
so
versions
good.
coming.
Infinity War and Endgame were so good.
But yeah, it's
But it's because of all the stuff that came before it, right? Like
Yeah,
Doomsday on its own could be a really great movie. I don't think it will be, but it could be. Because of what we've been given up until that point, it won't succeed. It will not. Like I don't see
and
it
look at the way they
succeed.
planned Avengers in like the first phases. Thanos first showed up in like 2012. That's the first Avengers,
Yep.
right?
yeah.
Yep.
And Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame are like 2017, 2018, I think.
18, 19, yeah.
18,
18,
19.
19.
Yeah.
So that's like 6, 7 years. And more years planning. That's probably about a decade of planning.
Hmm.
So you screwed up.
And
You got rid of
now
Kang like a year or two ago. You don't have time.
you're going to introduce
And the
Doctor
script's not
Doom.
done.
Yeah.
You're going to introduce
Just
Doctor
stuck
Doom.
with Doom. He puts on a mask. If you need to recast him, it's very easy.
You're going to start the Victor Von Doom story, presumably either in Fantastic Four First Steps or, God forbid, in a credit scene of
They,
Fantastic Four First Steps.
No, I mean that's exactly what's going to happen.
I'm
And
not sure that
then
they're going to include in the first steps. That
and
also it
then
doesn't
we've
make
got
sense.
what? No movies announced between that and Doomsday?
Nothing big, no, because it oh wait, yeah. No, there's nothing. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no there Fantastic Four is the last movie of 2025 and Doomsday is the first movie of 2026.
Yeah, that's
They
crazy.
got to get on a Doctor Strange movie. Why haven't they started this the
Just give Sam Raimi a blank check and let him do whatever the hell he wants. Like
series?
Multiverse of Madness was fine. The expectations killed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the Doctor Strange movies have been two so far. I like them. I think he's a good character, still around. You don't have to bring
Also
back
deserves
everybody
a
from the
third
dead.
movie.
Yeah, just start it.
Still
He
hasn't
deals with multiverse stuff all the time. He makes the most sense to be part of this.
We've
still
gotten
hasn't fought
three
Mordo, by the way.
Spider-Man movies since
Yeah,
yeah, we've gotten three Spider-Man movies since the first Doctor Strange because they were both what,
Strange
17,
was
18, whatever.
16 and
16, 17.
Homecoming was 17.
Yeah.
I think that was okay because they were,
Yeah.
finishing up other things. But after that, you should have gone all in on Doctor Strange. Like I had said, which is he is the most recognizable character you still have. That you don't want to recast Iron Man yet in like the same universe. It just wouldn't make sense. Um, he's still there. He's a major player. He involves like he makes the most sense to be part of this crazy multiverse, mystical things, whatnot. He goes to other dimensions. Literally does that in the first movie before anyone else does. It
True.
just doesn't. I don't know why you're trying to make this grand thing and spend so much time on like putting guys like Sam Wilson in there. I mean, they're great characters. They just don't really fit. Like you should give them their own time to have their own plots and have somebody like Doctor Strange take care of the overarching themes because it makes the most sense to include them in there along with like, Fantastic Four. But
Mhm.
just somebody that like fits what you're going for in multiverse. You don't
Yeah.
need to have every movie be, oh my God, there could be other versions of this guy.
But hold on, just going back to what we were talking about, George, there are projects that are released in between.
All
Uh,
Projects.
right.
yes, but don't get too excited for Eyes of Wakanda coming out in August. It'll be great because it's Ryan Coogler, but like we don't
Wait,
need
what
that.
is that? The
It's an
eyes of
animated story about the Dora Milaje, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah, produced
what you're telling
and
me is that
created.
has absolutely nothing to do with
It has absolutely
anything.
not. It's just it's a Ryan Coogler. I
Okay.
want to make this. Fine, go do it. It'll
Yeah,
probably
go
be
for
pretty
it.
damn good. Like I
They should
respect
probably
the
do
hell
more
out of that.
stuff like that.
Yeah, Marvel Zombies, which is a spin-off of one episode,
Of
maybe
season
two,
one of What
of
If.
season one of What If.
Well, Marvel Zombies is a little different than that one.
It is, but like they're
So,
using that as
Also,
the
I'm
engine.
pretty sure I read
oh,
that Marvel
okay.
Zombies is going to be like 3 or 4 episodes. It's not going to be a whole
Yeah,
show.
Eyes of Wakanda is four, Marvel Zombies is four, and then we get Wonder Man in December. Eight
Okay.
and 10 episodes.
That's Yahya Abdul Mateen, right?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
That'll be good.
And Ben
Yeah,
Kingsley
I don't know if any of
there.
these things they're gonna
Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery.
I'm
what?
guessing
He's back?
Jesus Christ.
he is listed in the cast list for Wonder Man.
That's fun.
That'll be something.
Yes, as Trevor Slattery.
Jesus Christ.
And Ed Harris will be in it too.
Playing his
Hmm.
role from Top Gun Maverick.
No,
Admiral
sorry.
Kane. No.
Yeah, he's
No.
playing his role from Westworld.
Yes. God, season one was so good at that. And then Vision Quest is early 26 or sometime in 26.
With James Spader returning as Ultron.
Yeah, they really like. I don't know why they
That's the end
pushed
of
this
phase
stuff off.
six.
Vision is an extremely popular Avengers character. Also, yeah, just you should have done more with him. I don't know. I don't know why they were trying to push some of this other stuff so far. It just doesn't make sense for the world. Like the Marvels makes a lot of sense for the multiversal story. But
Deadpool
yeah, if you
Wolverine
want
made a lot of sense.
you don't need to like include them in the multiverse in their own solo movies. Tease something at the end. They don't, you know, somebody else needed to deal with the Celestials. It just
'Cause I'm sorry, like I love Sam, I love him as Cap, but he didn't even like beat up Red Hulk. Like, what's he gonna do against?
no. It's like they're
Like,
trying to push
come
the
on, man.
character, but nobody watches a superhero movie just to see a guy like talk someone down. That's the
No,
lamest thing ever.
like you
But
could delve
it's
into the
entirely
Serpent
we got to remember it's
Society.
entirely in character for Sam Wilson to do that.
It
What?
is, but like you can also you could have had the Serpent Society be the main antagonist of this,
Oh yeah,
bring
Giancarlo
in
Esposito's in this, and he's another
like
one-off villain completely wasted.
yeah. I mean, he's interesting enough that he could have been the villain for a Captain America film, and you actually have Sam going after sort of this deep-seated corruption. Maybe they're the ones that instead of the leader, they're leading they're taking over the government and are pulling the strings and with Isaiah or whatever have hurt, like use Isaiah too. Like he is within the universe that you've built. He's got weight. He's got emotional weight, and he matters.
Yeah. Also has super soldier serum, so
Yeah,
probably could fight Red Hulk a little easier.
that's point number one.
That's point number a
But
lot.
yeah,
That's
it
a lot of
just
points.
like it is in character for Sam Wilson to do that. But given that this is the first real like poignant interaction between Ross and Sam Wilson, it just doesn't make sense for him to be this emotional like uh, wait. Even if he's bringing up like Betty, it's like it barely worked while he was Thaddeus Ross when Betty did it. When he's Red Hulk, I'm supposed to believe that Sam Wilson can talk him down using Betty's like memory. I don't know. It just is too contrived for me
I think that
and
there's
has
a
no
lot.
emotional weight.
I think with this movie, there's a lot that went right. There's a lot that went wrong. What we end up with is, as Max said at the beginning of this episode, a very okay movie. It's not spectacular. I think we all wanted it to be better. I think Anthony Mackie deserved better,
Yep.
but
Yep.
what we have is what we got.
Yeah.
And we're gonna keep watching because we're all committed to the Marvel movie machine.
I like Doctor
So
Doom.
we will
Doctor
see
Strange.
you
I like the
in
doctors.
I'm excited for the two movies this summer. I
Yeah,
really am. I think
Thunderbolts
they
is
look great. They look cool.
Thunderbolts has done just enough with its trailers to intrigue me without giving anything away. I have
I'm
no idea what the
very
movie's.
excited about Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
Hmm.
Four looks like it's going to be gas, and I love Matt Shakman. I don't know if you guys remember, but when we did the Eternals episode, we ranked Marvel directors, and he was in my top three just for WandaVision. So I'm very excited to see Matt
Well,
Shakman.
clearly from the trailer, it seems like he understands the characters. So
Better
that's
than the last two
that
renditions
is
of Fantastic Four.
that's the most
That's a
important
low
thing that we
bar.
could ask for. But look, yeah, no, we'll talk about that later.
So we will see you in 2.5 months for Thunderbolts, and we will see you next week as we predict who wins at the Academy Awards.
Ben wins.
Ben
I
will
win every
finally win something here.
Ben will win.
It's my time.
Ben has been nominated for a Career Achievement Award at the Oscars.
All
Lifetime
right.
achievement.
We will see you for
Lifetime.
the Oscars prediction episode next week. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.